Right now on CBS 12 News this morning, dozens of emotional students and teachers take to the podium expressing their concerns over the new parental rights law.
This bill being put in place is terrifying for me. I've spent 14 years of my life hiding.
Ahead, what this new policy means for students here in Palm Beach County and what it will mean for them this upcoming school year.
And Florida fails to pre-order COVID-19 vaccines for our youngest kids as the nation's top experts are poised to give the final authorization.
What this means for parents hoping to get their kids vaccinated as the rest of the country secures its doses.
And it's another humid start to our morning. I've got a closer look at your hot Thursday.
It's a new day. This is CBS 12 News This Morning.
All right, happy Friday Eve, everybody. I'm Matt Lincoln.
And I'm Sam Kerrigan. It's going to be another hot one out there for us today. Let's get right over to meteorologist Laura Lesky with a look at our forecast.
Sam, thanks. Let's take a look right now at our current heat index. This is what it feels like on your skin as you head out the door. It is very humid again this morning. It feels like 73 in Vero and Okeechobee, so that's not too bad. But this is going to, of course, get worse as we move through the day. It feels like 81 in West Palm Beach right now, but it's really only about 78 in West Palm. This graphic's been really fun to show as our temperatures, or as our heat index is going to climb back to around 100 degrees today. If you live inland, it's probably going to be close to 105. Make sure you are staying hydrated out there. Take frequent breaks. Just slow it down if you have to be outdoors. Now, the heat advisories are getting shifted across parts of the state. We now have one in effect out for the Tampa area, across the Big Bend, and then down the Panhandle there through this evening. We don't have one issued here because it's not hot enough. Our tolerance for heat is much higher than other parts of the country. So while our heat index might be the same as areas further north, we're used to this. So we don't have a heat advisory in effect. Parts of the country, though, still do. So here's what we're dealing with later today. Again, it's going to feel close to the triple digits. Just make sure you are staying hydrated if you have to be outdoors for extended periods of time. Rain chances once again do stay limited. We will eventually see a few more storms returning. We'll talk more about that still ahead. Matt, Sam.
Thanks, Lauren. At 6:01 now, let's check on that Thursday morning drive. It is looking good here in Indian River County. I-95 there near Vero Beach, running up to speed in both directions. We are also problem-free in Palm Beach County.
Well, 6:01, and we may be just weeks into summer break, but plans for the upcoming school year already in the works. And last night, Palm Beach County School Board members approving a new policy that follows the controversial parental rights in education law. That law, set to go in effect on July 1st, limits classroom instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in grades K through 3. Also, similar topics at any grade level if they're not considered age appropriate. Now, our Kara Duffy's live outside Palm Beach County School District headquarters. Kara, what does this new policy mean for our kids when school resumes in the fall?
Well, Matt, the new policy breaks down how parents can inspect and possibly object to materials in the classroom and on campus that they may find inappropriate. We're talking workbooks, worksheets, spreadsheets, handout materials, even books found at the library. And according to this new policy, these objections can be based on beliefs regarding morality, sex, religion, or simply just the belief that the materials are harmful to students. Now, before school board members formally adopted this policy last night, teachers, parents, students, all against the law, shared personal stories of their own experiences in schools as members of the LGBTQ+ community and why they fear this law will cause harm.
This bill being put in place is terrifying for me. I've spent 14 years of my life hiding, and I've spent 12 years being bullied within the public school system.
That could help us mitigate rape culture, homophobia, transphobia, eating disorder, self-harm, and abuse. It will not happen by not mentioning it.
School board members also addressed their own concerns, pointing out how the risk of suicide and bullying is higher in these age groups, saying that while they have to implement this policy, they are working on ways to increase the resources that students need to help make them feel safer in schools. And Matt, Sam, this law is going into effect on July 1st, so just over 2 weeks from now.
Kara, thank you. The parental rights and education law also made rounds at the White House as President Biden signed an executive order aimed at protecting the LGBTQ community from legislation like we have here in Florida. The president says he's taking action to prevent what he calls hateful attacks by Republican lawmakers.
I don't have to tell you about the ultra-MAGA agenda attacking families and our freedoms. 300 discriminatory bills introduced in states across this country. In Texas, knocking on front doors to harass and investigate parents who are raising transgender children. In Florida, going after Mickey Mouse, for God's sake.
Governor Ron DeSantis also weighed in on the law at a news conference in Madeira Beach.
We create a school system and with your tax dollars, and the purpose of that needs to be to educate our kids, not to indoctrinate them with ideology.
The governor says the law would give parents protection when schools don't follow state standards.
School board members also talked about school security measures at last night's meeting. They're working to approve a contract with an emergency panic notification system that would help during an active shooter situation. The other districts in our area also have systems in place. Martin County Schools currently doing what Palm Beach County plans to implement. Indian River County uses a panic button system through cell phones and also through the school radios. St. Lucie and Okeechobee counties both use app-based systems. All Florida schools were required to implement some kind of panic alert buttons by the end of last year under Alyssa's Law. That's named after Alyssa Al-Hadef, one of the victims of the Parkland school shooting.
Well, Florida lawmakers also passed the Luke and Alex School Safety Act after the Parkland school shooting. It addresses the best ways for schools to safeguard themselves from an active shooter. Parkland parent Max Schachter, who lost his son Alex in the shooting, is behind the legislation and now wants federal lawmakers to adopt it. The bill would turn all the information about safety in our schools into law. That information is stored on this website, schoolsafety.gov, and gives parents, teachers, and school officials the best practices to improve school security. Schachter shared his findings in front of a Senate Judiciary Committee on Children and Gun Violence.
And what I found was that while some school districts seemed well prepared for acts of gun violence, too many of them had the complacent attitude that Parkland had, that it won't happen here.
Right now, gunfire is the leading cause of death among children and teens. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 4,300 babies, children, and teens died in 2020.
And this morning, lawmakers are still working on hashing out a bipartisan deal on gun reform as we take a live look at our nation's capital. It includes financial support for states to create or administer red flag laws to temporarily remove guns from individuals that are deemed to be a threat. It also would expand investments in mental health, school safety, and enhanced background checks for gun buyers under the age of 21. This proposal also does include support from 10 Republican senators. That would be enough to overcome the filibuster.
6:07 right now. This morning, Americans are facing higher interest rates after the Federal Reserve announced the largest one-time rate hike since 1994. Interest rates will go up by 0.75 percentage point in an attempt to bring inflation down. So it will be more expensive to borrow money for things like homes, cars, and credit card purchases. So far, the markets responded well to the decision. The Dow, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq all finishing in positive territory. All of that is good news for any investments like your 401k.
And this morning, there could be some relief for South Florida residents struggling to pay rent. We are learning West Palm Beach commissioners are considering requiring landlords to provide a 60-day notice for termination of leases for month-to-month tenants or a rent increase of more than 5%. Miami has the highest rent prices already, but this is in effect there. It's just the first reading of the ordinance. The next meeting is set for next month.
Right now, a new report shows Florida is still the most popular location for relocating home buyers despite the market cooling down. Redfin, a real estate brokerage firm, shows Miami has topped the list all year long, and Tampa just surpassed Phoenix for the #2 spot. Tampa is becoming more popular with relocating home buyers, largely because it's relatively affordable.
And this morning, we are a step closer to having an approved COVID-19 vaccine for kids under the age of 6. That means there are roughly 18 million kids that will be eligible for the vaccines as early as next week if it clears final authorization. A Food and Drug Administration panel voted to recommend both of Moderna's 2-dose vaccines for kids under the age of 6 and also Pfizer's 3 doses for kids under the age of 5. Each vaccine is a fraction of an adult dose. However, right now, less than 30% of kids who are eligible from 5 to 11 have been able to get their shot and are fully vaccinated. The FDA and the CDC still need to give a final approval on this.
And this morning, we're learning Florida was the only state that did not pre-order those shots for kids 5 and under. According to the Miami Herald, Florida missed the deadline, meaning this will now lead to delays for parents who want to get their kids vaccinated. Florida Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo has long criticized vaccination requirements for adults and recommended against vaccinating healthy kids. He says there's a lack of evidence for vaccinating young children.
We expect to have good data that the benefits outweigh the risks of any therapies or treatments before we recommend those therapies or treatments to Floridians. I mean, that's not going to change. I don't think that that's particularly radical. I think it's very sensible.
Again, the nation's top health experts are currently reviewing vaccines for kids and so far have found them to be safe and effective. Now, the rest of the country is set to get vaccines delivered as early as Monday to pediatricians' offices, hospitals, pharmacies, and health centers.
10 past 6 now, and next, a busy highway interchange in North Palm Beach County about to get a major facelift coming up. We'll show you what the intersection of PGA and I-95 will look like in a few years.
And caught on camera, a wrong-way driver who deputies say blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit, racing along I-95 in Martin County. How they were able to safely bring the driver to a stop.
Before we head to break, a live look out at the beach in Lake Worth Beach. Meteorologist Lauren Leske has another look at our forecast. When we come back, you're watching CBS 12 News This Morning, the one to turn to.